All right, we're live here, and we're just checking to make sure that we're able to be seen and heard. So if you happen to watch us live or catching up, just give us a wave. Just give us a. All right, so I think we're good here. All right, fantastic. Okay, so welcome back to another episode of the Six Figure Consultant Show. My name is Sabrish Chand, and I'm the host and the IT consulting expert here, facilitating the show on behalf of IITC, the International Institute of IT and Consulting. And I'm again excited to be back with another episode today. It's been a while. So every maybe 30 to 45 days, about a month and a half, we try and bring an IT consulting expert from across the world who's been who's been helping clients, who's been serving clients in helping them with IT problems and really taking their game top notch and providing value at a large scale. So today, in that aspect, I'm much more excited to bring to you someone I've known for over a year now. And this person is currently based in Australia, which is also the reason why we're coming, live at this point in time. So this person is joining me from Melbourne, Australia, and he's been a developer. He's been a business analyst. He's got a wealth of experience. He's got a wealth of accolades and accomplishments under his belt. He is somebody I really admire. He inspires me with the value that he brings to the world and the work that he's done. And he's gone on to become a entrepreneur, and he's today, helping a lot many more clients. And he's also an inspiration for many, many youngsters who are, wanting to pursue entrepreneurship and business analysis careers. So, without much delay, please allow me to bring on the show Dasan Premasdasa. Hey, Dasan, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Sabrish, and really happy to be on your show.
Yeah, exciting, exciting. So, I remember it's been a year, right? Since we have known each other. We met through a common connection, and I can't believe that it's already been a year. It just feels like I just know you, and we happen to have that chat, just recently. But yeah, so here we are doing this show together, and what really inspires me about the whole the show and bringing guests is I learn a lot, from your stories and from everyone else's stories who've been here before. So that's what really inspires me and drives me to bring on guests onto my show. And in that aspect, I definitely see you as one of my inspirations to really go above and beyond and deliver value to clients, in the world. So, Dasan, happy to have you here. So
Happy to
this
be
is
here.
more of a conversation. We'll chat about your story. We'll talk about your journey. Going from a developer to an entrepreneur, and really like getting into manufacturing industry, right, and establishing yourself there. And you happen to then switch into beverages. So wanted to talk a little bit about that as well. So we'll talk about your journey, right? Um, so where do we start? So why don't you give us an
Well,
intro about yourself, and then maybe talk about your background and stuff like that.
yeah, look, before that, I want to say last time we caught up, we were all in lockdowns. That's
Yes.
that's when we first may have connected. So we've come a long way. So I think we all have our freedom, so which is great.
Yeah.
So, look, thank you for that lovely introduction. And I have to say thank you for everybody who's joining, because I know it's really late over there. So I appreciate you guys joining
My pleasure.
and listening to us. Look, as you said, I started my career in 2000. That's when I first official job as a developer. But I've always been doing programming and things like that since I was like 16 years old. Like, always been fascinated about how the things are working, because I started development and stuff in C.
Okay.
So language, then we saw all these visual tools coming in. So I've got hung up on that. So I started my career and worked for several software houses in Sri Lanka.
Okay.
That's when I started my career. And then in 2007, I moved to Australia, Melbourne, Australia. Melbourne, Australia, obviously, once I started, I was actually still a developer. But then at one organization, I decided I'm going to move into a BA role, because I always been the person who enjoys interacting with the business users and things like that. I was more fascinated about what's the application of the project, of the product, how the technology helped the business and things like that. So started
Yeah.
that, ended up in manufacturing, beverage manufacturing, which I fell in love with. Obviously, wine industry especially is a
Yes.
very nice industry to be in,
Yeah.
especially in Australia. We do some beautiful wines here. So then during COVID, obviously, I decided I want to start my own business. I didn't know anything. Well, I thought I knew how to do a business, being a business analyst,
Yeah.
but then I realized that I don't know anything. And the most exciting thing was everything I did since then was a big learning journey for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
So it's like every day you learn something new,
Yeah.
and that keeps that excitement going. So that's my story.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. So 2000s, you started as a developer, and then you wanted to become a business analyst, and then you got into this manufacturing industry, right, in beverages. It's quite a shift from developer to business analyst to entrepreneur. Like, how do you see, like, looking back at this journey, right? Like, what do you think about this growth? Like, did this happen by itself, or do you think this was more of a you wanting to go and
Mm.
kind of venture out into this?
I think jumping from a BA to becoming an entrepreneur
Yeah.
was easy. Obviously, you had to take on that risk. You had to be willing to take on the risk.
Yeah.
But the hardest part from going from a developer, an employee being a developer, into
Yeah.
a BA, especially considering that time we were at, like, you have to have certain skills and you have to find an opportunity. When you try to look for BA opportunities, everybody's looking for BAs with BA experience. So
Right.
you have to have that, the support of your leadership. I had a really good manager who actually helped me with the transition. So we sat down. He said, I said, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
Um, and he helped me with it. So I would say that process was much more challenging to move into that, because you have to deliver from day one. um, and it's a complete different ball game end of the day. So but not much risk. So the risk, you have less risk when you do that, whereas when you're going from a business analyst, being an employee, to be a consultant or like self employed,
Yeah.
starting a business, there's a lot of factors you have to consider.
Yeah.
So that for that you have to make sure that you analyze the risk,
Yeah.
and you have certain things in place. But you just have to believe in yourself, and you have to have something. You have to be very clear about what's the problem you're going to solve.
Hmm. What's the problem we're going to solve? I think that's the million-dollar question that
Yeah.
I think most consultants who want to be entrepreneurs are asking themselves as well. Because I feel that it takes a bit of clarity, right? Maturity to get that clarity as well on what problems they solve. So going back to your journey, this transition, right? It's inspiring because you know it's kind of three different roles that you've taken on, right? You've changed pretty much your identity. It feels like in different stages of your career. So was there a specific reason why you moved from a developer into like a business analyst? Like why business analyst for you?
Mm. Um, Mainly, number one, I always love the requirement gathering phase and the implementation, working with the business users and things like that. When you're
Yeah.
a developer in the project life cycle, your engagement is very limited. So
Yeah.
you focus on a certain piece, and the
Yeah.
larger the project, that piece gets smaller. You focus on one small bit.
Yeah.
But when you're a business analyst, I look at business analyst as a horizontal industry or a
Right.
horizontal role that
Yes.
go across multiple disciplines.
Yes.
Whereas a developer is more of a vertical. You
Vertical.
actually go deep, you stay there.
Right.
So I wanted to be part of a project because I was doing a lot of digital transformation projects. I
Okay.
want to be part of the project from start to the end,
Okay. Yeah.
because most of the time developer you play a small part and then you just go start something else,
Yes.
but I wanted to play that entire role. So that's why I decided I want to be a business analyst.
Okay.
And also I love working with the business people, listening to their problems and try to find solutions,
Yeah.
get people from the right place. I always enjoy that part of the process.
Nice.
So that's why I decided, okay, I want to be a business analyst.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So
and
I can relate to that as well. So yeah, go ahead.
And what I was gonna say is, when you're a developer, you actually can do a lot of help and support when you're talking to the business users as well, because you know how it's going to be under the hood. So
Yeah.
you can explain things as well. And as a BA, you should be able to explain them to your developers as well clearly. You should be able to
Right.
articulate them.
Right.
So, being a developer myself, I was able to do it much better than my colleagues who were not developers, because they had to
Yeah.
they like, I was able to jump straight in and explain to them in the technical terms the way they understands.
Yeah.
So I had that advantage as well.
Okay. All
So
right.
yeah.
All right. So you had the technical experience, and then you also because you specialize in working with people, you also gathered the business experience, and you were able to combine the both, right? And I'm pretty
100%.
sure this experience would have also helped you as a business analyst, right? In terms of interacting with your customers, understanding their requirements, thinking from a solution perspective, right? That adopting that design mindset because you have the development background. Um, you know, was that helpful? Do you think? Like,
100%, 100%, because when you develop you can actually, there are certain stages where the BA has to come back to the development team or the technical people
yeah,
and verify, is this doable, can it be done, things
yes,
like that. For me, because I knew how it's all going to be reflected in the code or the system or whatever it is,
yeah,
I was able to have those conversations straight away with the clients or customers or business users, and just guide them through the right journey.
right,
So had that advantage. And even in my company, like we in our business analyst firm, I when we are looking for BAs, when you're looking for, I always say, like, if you are a developer who's looking to do that transition, we are happy to help,
yeah, yeah,
because I know that that's a really good skill to have.
yes, yes. Yeah. So looking back at my journey, I was like, I graduated from a tech school, so I had like 4 years of technical education, and then I was also very much into people. Like, I couldn't be someone who can kind of spend my whole day working in a system just doing like coding, right? So I was more on the people side, and I was looking for a role that would fulfill my people's expertise and skills. and I happened to, identify with business analyst as one of those roles that was, um, good in terms of working with people and understanding their needs and requirements and all of that. So
Yeah.
that's how I got into business analysis,
Yeah.
um, in my career earlier in the days. So
That is actually a very good point. Sorry to cut you there, Sabrish.
yeah,
Um, that you made such a good point, because whether you want to be a business analyst, whether you want to be a different kind of an IT consultant, programming consultant, or
yeah,
anybody, the people skill, even to this day,
yeah,
I still spend some time every day
yeah,
to improve those skills. I always like, okay, what can I do to improve my people skills? I ask for feedback from people I trust. What do you think I can do? What do you think I should have done here?
yeah,
That people skill thing is actually very important for us as consultants,
yes,
individual consultants or business consultant, doesn't matter. Because even as a programmer, you should have that skill
yeah,
for you to go have a conversation with somebody, because you have to sell yourself,
yes,
right? It's actually, yeah, it is an essential skill to have.
yes,
So you made such a good point there.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, so I think, yeah, definitely. Like I think everything, especially now in the business, it's all about people. I feel right. Like everybody, like your team is comprised of people. Your clients are people. Your vendors and suppliers pretty much are people, right? So it's all about that, and pretty much everything I learned as a business analyst and in doing business analysis, all the skills that I've acquired through that is what is currently helping me with my business as well. So um, yeah, so I think anyone who's looking to become a entrepreneur or start their own business definitely would recommend business analysis as a step to really starting their own business, venturing out on their own. And that is something that definitely someone like looking to become an entrepreneur should definitely look into, in my perspective as well.
Yeah, it's a problem solving
Yeah,
role.
yeah,
It's all about solving the problem, understanding the problem, and just solving it.
yes, 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 that's fantastic. Yeah, so let's talk about you know you made these transitions. Do you remember any challenges you had when, let's say you went from a developer into a business analyst and then from a business analyst into an entrepreneur, or a consultant maybe? What kind of problems or challenges did you have?
One of the biggest problems I had was to market myself. Because I think that's a very common when you're actually talking about previously as well. One of the biggest problems, you can be the best programmer
Yes,
in the entire business, but
yes,
if you don't know, if you are actually a coder, head down just coding, you may have the best code in the world,
yeah,
but if you don't interact with people, if you don't have those soft skills,
yeah,
right, you will get overlooked regardless of how good you are. A
yeah,
lot of we can say you can say, it's a company, they are bad, company is bad.
yeah,
But you can't blame them. I had a lot of clients to say, like, we had these really good consultants. They're like, I don't want to work with him. Why? Because
yeah,
he talks technical with me.
yeah,
I don't understand it. So that's number one problem.
yeah.
So I had that problem. So the
Interesting.
first 2 years when I actually became a business analyst, I had that problem. I had to fix it
Mhm.
because I was still thinking. I've been a BA for about a decade, over a decade at that time when I became I've been a developer for over a decade. So I've become a BA. I still think 80% like a developer. So I go and talk these technical things, very technical stuff with business users. And I used to be, they used to complain, say, look, this guy's too technical. We don't understand what he's talking about.
Right.
So I have to go through that learning process at that one.
Yeah.
So
And
that was one of the challenges.
okay. And what was that like, for you to like learn that? How long did it take, and what kind of initiatives did you have to take, or trainings or learning did you have to go through in order for you to change that?
At that point, how I actually learned that, corrected that one was, I remember the first. It took me about 1.5 years to perfect it.
Okay.
At the beginning, when my peers, my seniors, who actually told me and said that, I still went, and my first explanation to a first answer was always very technical.
Okay.
But then I started saying, but what I meant was,
Yeah.
then I go into the layman terms, business terms.
Yes.
And I say, this is how it works in the code. You click here, click that. This is the code architecture. Is like this, some stuff. But then you do it. Look, this is how it works. Your problem is this. This is how it's gonna fix it.
Right.
So they understand it. So, but with time, it always went back into, okay, based on from their perspective, you answer the questions so
Yes.
they understand it, not from your way. I'll tell you, sometimes I actually
Yeah.
do it to this day. Certain things, if you ask me an area I'm really really keen, I get very excited and I go to my geek side and I do the technical thing. But there are like, quickly I'm like, all right, this is what I meant.
Okay.
So that's something I actually relied on. That was one of the challenges I had.
Okay.
Another challenge I had was, when I was actually a business analyst, is the direction. How I can. I wanted to be a CIO at that time. I wanted to become a CIO,
Okay.
but I did not know how to get there, and I did not. One of the mistakes I made where I did not reach out to the people who were actually in that CIO level or like that. I just made it up in my head. This is, I do this. I go from normal BA to senior BA, then be a manager, and I thought that's the only way to get there,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So then I started. I made this. Look, I have to rely on others who've been there, done that. So learn from people who've done it,
Yeah.
learn from seniors, learn from other CIOs to ask them for guidance. Like, how does this? How did you do it? Then you learn it. There's no one way to do it.
Yeah.
There's so many ways to do it. So that was another challenge, and I see that quite a lot with my team members and also other consultants and developers and IT people I meet. They actually don't know how to get there,
Yes.
the clear path, direction, and
Yeah.
they have to understand it's different from business to business, it's different from organization to organization,
Yeah.
industry. You doesn't, just because you are a programmer doesn't mean you'll never be a CIO. You don't have, because I had that myself.
Okay.
So those are the two key things I can actually think of right now.
Okay.
Challenges.
Yeah. Fantastic. Yeah. So I think you're on point with those challenges, because even like we deal with a lot of people who come to us who want to start their either their consulting practice, or they're looking at gathering their existing experience. They want to move into IT and they want to start business analysis as their career in IT. And what they always think is this, right? So for someone to be established in IT, they have to be really technical, right? That's what they think, at least. So they focus too much in learning the technical skills. They don't understand the value of developing people skills, leadership, strategic thinking, all of that, right? So that's something that they don't understand, because they don't know that the first few years, having a technical skill is valuable, right? And then the more you want to grow in your career, like, say for example, you want to be a manager, you want to be a director. It's all about people, right? So people skills is what will get you there. And you got to be able to really influence people, right? Influence decision making. You got to be able to bring your point forward. And it's all about sales as well, like selling concepts, selling ideas, all of that put together, right?
Mhm.
So not many people understand that. They think, if they have, a bunch of credentials, then they're good to go. which is commonly what I see in the market as well, with a lot of people.
100%. That's such a good point. In my what I've seen is people with those strong people who are strong in those social and soft skills,
Yeah.
they do very well in the IT because
Yeah.
that's what's missing. That's what the businesses value.
Yes. Yeah.
So if you can actually build those up and focus more on those skills,
Yeah.
you actually can do very well in an industry because the technology these days especially,
Yeah.
it's a funny thing, like these days everybody's building IT solutions for non IT people.
Exactly.
Like that's the thing, like there's like if you want to build a website, there are so many companies
Yeah.
tools there to drag and drop and build it. If you want to build mobile apps, you don't, like, you have drag and drop stuff and you have your mobile. Yeah, there are certain things you cannot do,
Yeah.
but so you have to make sure that you have those soft skills in place
Yeah.
to to go to the next level.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, it is called the low code or no code revolution that's going on
Yeah,
now, right?
it is.
So back in the days when I started in IT, right? IT was like purely technical. Like they were wanting people with technical skills to get into IT.
Yeah,
And I still remember this was the point in time when projects were done with just IT people in it, right? Like no
yeah,
consultation with business. They used to deliver solutions that are like very technical, uh, and not with much of user experience in mind. Uh,
yeah,
you know, and it used to get rolled out to the business, and business goes, "Oh, this is another technical solution that I have to learn."
yeah.
And that used to be the state of business users back in the days, and
I mean,
eventually, yeah,
sorry.
yeah. No, I was just going to say, eventually, I think that changed, right? Because later on, I think IT went through a shift and started to understand that the reason why they're building solutions is for people to use. And if people don't adopt those solutions, then there's no point, building those solutions in the first place, right? Yeah, I think that was the whole shift, and I happened to be there to see that shift. And today, most of the people who get into IT, yeah, they have a little bit of technical knowledge, right? They don't need to have a graduation in technical, from a technical school. Understanding of technical systems, technicalities of the systems is good enough, but they're all good in terms of understanding people and managing expectations and communicating with them, all of that, right? The soft skills is what plays a major role in IT these days.
100%. It's all about the value it adds, right? Business value,
Yeah,
commercial value, social value. That's all that matters.
yeah,
Like the evolution. It's funny. Like I was thinking about it recently.
mm,
Back in the day, for you to put a button
yeah,
on a screen, Windows application screen, you had to write so much code
yeah,
in C++,
yeah,
right? Then came Visual C. You
yeah,
drag and drop the button, you do it.
yeah,
VB had it easily and this and that.
yeah,
Then I remember when they actually introduced, so we used to write the database layer, like code it, like straight away, tables, accessing stuff,
yeah,
methods, everything. Then Microsoft came up with this drag and drop database layer designer.
yeah,
And you just drag and drop and then you do it and it creates all the methods and stuff. I'm like,
yeah,
this is awesome. Then I at that point I thought, hold on, like this is now this level, and what's going to happen later on? Then these tools like uh, Dreamweaver, all those stuff came in. You can create web application just by
yeah,
dragging and dropping minimum coding. And
yeah,
I'm sure there are now so many other applications you just do it like that.
yeah,
It's actually just like you said, it's no code, low code. That's the trend moving forward.
yeah,
So as a developer, where can you add value? That's something you have to think as a technical, but it's all about business value. It has to commercial value and
exactly.
social value.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So for those who are watching, this is, for me, it's a good time for me to remind you that it's just not technical skills, right? So going forward, as we move further into this digital age and as people start working remotely, it's more of that people skills and understanding of people, their concerns, their issues, and their problems, and proposing solutions to help them with those problems is all that is going to matter, right? Because more and more organizations, more and more players, the key players in the IT industry, are coming up with low no code solutions, which means there's no work for developers, right? Of course, there's going to be one odd enhancements that you're going to have to make, but that's about it, right? So most of the work is going to be configuring the system, putting things together, but you have to have a solid understanding of business process in doing that, right? So
Yeah.
that's where I think most value is going to be coming from. And if you are somebody who's highly technical, wanting to move into maybe a leadership role, the perfect way for you to do that is to start developing your people skills and social skills.
Yeah. Even if you want to be like a consultant, like go
Yes.
and do it on your own,
Yes.
80% or 90% of the time you'll be talking to a non-technical person. You're trying
Yeah.
to fix their problem. So
Yeah.
you should be able to have a really good communication skill.
Yeah.
And people like to work with people they connect.
Yes.
That's it. Even if you are the best person, if you
Yeah.
cannot gel, if you guys, they don't
Yes.
want to work with you. They
Yes.
go find somebody else. So
Yes.
it's very important.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. No, rightly said. Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about your transition from business analyst to an entrepreneur. Now you've come a full
Mm.
circle, right? Like technical to now managing a business. You're the CEO, you're the founder of this business. You've got people working, you got systems in place. How was that experience for you today?
It's an adventure, big
Yeah,
adventure,
yeah.
like skydiving. It's it's I call it drift diving. Actually, I'm a scuba diver, so it's like
Oh,
jumping into a really strong current and try to figure it out.
yeah,
It's actually, I would say, one of the most exciting thing I've done in my life.
yeah,
Um, because it took me about 1 year to figure out that everything I thought that's how it works, how the business works, and things like that. I realized I don't know anything about running a business.
exactly. Yeah,
So I'm like, okay, let's take a step back, and I don't want to make mistakes that others make. So all I have to do is I have to go and find the people who've done it
yes,
several times and
yeah,
learn from them, so
yeah,
I can avoid the businesses mistakes they made.
yeah.
So it's a learning process for me. I'm still learning. My business is almost 2 years now. We are in the customer experience space.
Yeah,
Digital transformation and customer experience is what we do.
nice.
So it's consistently improving, consistently changing the way we do certain things. Not drastically, but you just keep improving.
Okay.
So the one word is adventure. Adventure.
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
an adventure. I definitely agree with that. I've got two businesses that I operate currently, and it's been a full time adventure for me as well,
Yeah.
right? And same, I agree with you because I started my first business like 10 years ago, um, and I just started without anything. Like I have no background in running a business. All I have is some skills that I've acquired over a period of time. So I got into business. I started this business, and I've been running this business. Unfortunately, like an employee running his own firm. So there is a lot of things that I learned over a period of time. A lot of mistakes that I made. Um, over a period of time, but not until when I met someone who told me that, hey, this is not how you run your business, is when I realized that everything I assumed about running a business was wrong. Right. So I literally started from scratch. So I've been learning business again, from scratch, for the last 3, 4 years now. Right. And it's been it's been a quite yeah, it's been a journey for me as well. Like so much learning, so much transformation. It's spiritual as well for me, in many ways.
It's a self discovery.
Yes.
It really is a self discovery. It actually, you think you're this and that, but then okay, at the lowest level, this is who I am.
Yeah.
This is where my strengths are, and I'm really bad at this. Either I build it, and
Yeah.
while I build it, I need to get these people to help me
Yeah.
so we can do it. It's a really interesting journey.
Yeah. Yeah. One
So
of my mentors, he actually says this, right? He always says that your business is a reflection of who you are. Uh, and I didn't understand that first. But now, like spending like 3, 4 years with him, I realized that it is true because what you know and what you're capable of is how your business is going to be because that's all you know, right? Your business is going to be the same. It's a reflection of who you are, and you know your skills is what is going to make the business operate, right? So how much it
100%.
performs is totally dependent on how much of skills you have. So that has been a huge learning and huge eye-opening, uh, you know, uh, yeah, eye-opener for me in many ways.
Absolutely, because the main thing is, you it's you. Everything stops with you.
Yes.
When you are like, that's thing. It's like when
Yeah.
you're in a corporate environment. Yeah, you're not. It's not never you. You always have things, reasons to do
Yeah.
that. In the business, if that's a problem in the business,
It's you.
it's your problem,
Yeah. Yeah. You
right?
don't have
If
it
you
to point fingers
Yeah,
at, right? Like,
if my employee is having problem, that's still my problem.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
so that's where the thing is. So yeah, it's been a very interesting transition.
Yeah.
And You look at it and go, yeah, look, and I know we both had a mentor, same mentor,
Yeah.
and we learn. It's all about learning.
Yeah.
It's all about learning from people. Everybody who's learning, it's be that sponge,
Yeah.
absorb it, and make sure you extract the water out so you can absorb more.
Yeah.
So that's a journey. That's the journey for me.
Yeah, I think for me as well, I kind of relate very much with what you're saying here because I always used to think how. So if I want to get something done, I always start with how do I do this, right? And now I'm starting to think who should I bring in who can do this for me, right? So that transition from how to who,
Mm.
that's the mind shift I've had
Yeah.
in the last 3, 4 years.
And subjects, that's the hardest, right? Like when you are an IT guy, you're so used to solving your own problem.
Yes.
You try to solve it. Even to this day, I
Yes.
try to solve a lot of things, and until I realize, hold on, I don't have to be doing this.
Yes.
Let's get somebody who's better than me to do it.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the biggest yeah the biggest challenge that people like us will have. I think when
Yeah.
we get into business. Yeah, yeah, that's interesting. So let's talk a bit about your beverage market, right? How big of a market is that, and is it only based in Australia, or
So obviously, beverage market in Australia is quite big. We work with a lot of beverage manufacturers, um, wine, alcohol, beer, and things like that.
yeah,
We also do quite a bit of work with the other manufacturing firms as well. Obviously, because the beverage industry, manufacturing industry, it's the same moving parts, and us focusing on mainly B2B customer experience and digital transformation. It's that there's a lot of common things and common challenges these guys face in that industry, especially around improving the B2B customer experience, improving the processes, how they do it. It comes down to cost cutting, productivity improvements, and customer experience. Those are the three areas that we focus on for
Okay.
any business.
Okay.
So it's a big industry. Well, for us, being an organization which is 2 years old,
Yeah.
it is a big industry. We are in the process of looking at other areas, especially Middle East, Middle Eastern areas, because we recently started an offshore technology center in Sri Lanka,
Nice.
so we can support our Middle Eastern customers much better, because Australia, Middle East, the time zone is there's about few hours. So where Sri Lanka is much more closer to Middle East, so we can have a better deliver better service.
Nice.
So we have to make sure that we look at customer experience from our perspective as well. We have to make sure that we deliver a good customer experience to our customers,
Nice.
instead of we just going and telling them, hey, this is how you improve your customer experience.
Nice. Nice.
So yeah, look, that's where we focusing on. Again, when I started, I thought, look, I can go and service everybody. That's another learning curve. Thing I learned. It's all about just focusing on a niche,
Yeah.
uh, a small, narrow it down, so we can actually do a better service.
Yeah.
And also, when you're running a business, when you want to train people, and when you want to have your systems, when you have that one or two products, and you're focusing on one industry,
Yeah.
you can fine tune your systems to meet that industry.
Yes.
Whereas if you have like 15 different industries and all, your system needs to be able to handle it. That's where a lot of organizations make that mistake, small organizations.
Yeah.
And it took me another about a year to learn that as well.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah. I still remember my mentor telling me, "Hey, not everyone is your customer. Like you cannot serve everyone. Like you cannot possibly serve everyone because you won't have the bandwidth or the time or the energy to do that, right? So yeah, that has been a learning for me as well, to focus on a specific segment of the market, and also specific customer group that we can serve and we can add value in their business and so on. So I definitely relate to that. um, One question I have is about the digital transformation. I hear about it quite a bit. um,
Mhm.
I understand what that is. So, what is your experience with digital transformation, and who do you think is currently going through these transformations?
Look, digital transformation is pretty much building digital capabilities to improve your organization this is my definition,
Okay.
using digital technologies to improve your operational process, people ways of working,
Yeah.
and your product offerings, and things like that.
Okay.
So those are the three areas. That's my definition. There are so many different definitions
Right.
about digital transformation.
Right.
A lot of organization went through. A lot of organizations learned the importance of digital transformation because of COVID.
Yes.
So COVID was a really good eye opener for a lot of these organizations.
Yeah.
Before COVID, they did not care about communicating with your employees or internet, having a digital order taking platforms, having a platform to service your B2B customers,
Yeah.
partners, interact with your suppliers. Did not care about it.
Okay.
But with COVID, a lot of people realized, hold on, we have to do it, because there was at least in Australia, there was a distinct difference between the companies who survived COVID and the ones who actually had to shut down their shops.
Hmm.
The ones who actually shut down their shop was like very much old school traditional way they ran their business.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they had to shut their businesses down for that period, at least temporarily,
Yeah.
because they didn't have the capabilities in place to adapt and deliver the services,
Yeah.
right? Innovate.
Yeah.
Whereas the ones who had those capabilities at the beginning, they were still maybe not as good as what it used to be, but they were still able to do that.
Hmm.
So coming out of COVID, one thing we are seeing right now is the ones who actually had those capabilities, they perfected those capabilities, now is in that growth, rapid growth stage. They're actually taking a lot more market share. They're
Yeah.
capturing, like they're becoming in the B2B space, they're becoming this preferred vendor because
Right.
they still provide those channels, and now they have that old school operation also in place.
Yeah.
So they're just competing. And then the ones who have not taken that step are now just chasing they're doing the catching up.
Right.
So it's funny, some organizations still don't see the value because certain organizations, certain industries have a lot of money in them. They have very higher profit margins, so they still manage it the old school ways. But a lot of organizations these days see the value and go through the transformation. We recently concluded a uh, what do you call, what's the word they use, digital market engagement for a large wine company in Australia.
Okay.
And they started the transformation during COVID because their main competitors had their online site selling wine over the internet.
Okay.
So they missed that bandwagon.
Oh, okay.
They went live recently. They obviously started. So when the next COVID, if there's another pandemic, they'll do well. But in Australia, the wine, because the wine alcohol sales went over the roof
Yeah.
during the lockdown because
Yeah.
people didn't have much to do. You stay at home, you drink.
Yeah.
So the ones who had those capabilities in place, systems in place, online sites in place to cater those needs,
Yeah.
they did very well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Others missed out.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
can imagine, you know, yeah, those businesses really thriving during the crisis. Yeah, I've heard of, and I've also kind of known some of these businesses really doubling their sales and doubling their revenue and so on during the pandemic. So yeah, so that's interesting. So when it comes to digital transformation, do you help organizations like put in like one solution, or are you kind of implementing different
Hmm.
technologies, different solutions depending on their processes? Like, how does that go?
So we are technology agnostic.
Okay.
So what we do is we actually look at the business. We focus mainly on the strategy.
Okay.
The discover We do a discovery where we understand their current strengths and weaknesses.
Okay.
SWOT analysis, we call it the discovery.
Right.
And we also look at from the customer perspective how the customer sees it, because what you want to do in the B2B, while you want to cut costs, improve productivity, you also want to be um, the gold standard for customer experience, because
Yes.
it's all about being your preferred vendor, B2B partner.
Yeah.
Otherwise competition going to take them away from you.
Yeah.
So we look at all those avenues, we interview people, we understand where the business is, then we highlight opportunities and we tell them, look, you guys have to do these things in order for you to get these outcomes.
Okay.
Then, being a business analyst consulting firm, we go and source the best solutions in the market and
Okay.
we bring those experts in to help the customer. So
Okay.
that's what we do.
Okay.
So the strategy, and then we help them with the implementation. We facilitate the implementation because a lot of these organizations have their IT teams, but maybe they don't have the availability, they don't have the capability to do that. So us being the experts, we can actually facilitate that process.
Right. Right. And do you also help them with sustainment of these solutions, like putting in governance controls in place and things like that? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. We help them with those governance, and you put in the right governance, right change management, take them through that process. And also, one of my favorite things is we do benefit realization
Yeah.
sessions. So, a lot of things you want to know at the end of your program, end of 1 year, end of a milestone,
Yeah.
whether your milestone delivered the expected results.
Right.
So that way, everybody knows, yes, it worked or it didn't work this time. Let's see why it didn't work. Let's make sure we fix it next time. So
Yeah.
that's something we do.
Yeah, nice, nice. I've always had challenges with benefits realization because, usually our clients are good till the solutions are implemented. They
Mhm.
help us identify the benefits and all of that. But when it comes to realization, reporting, on the benefits that were identified earlier, people usually don't like to take responsibility, of them not achieving those benefits that they identified earlier, right? That has always been a challenge for me, with
Mm.
people accepting uh, that they're responsible for those benefits to be met, right? So that's one of the challenges that I have.
Funny story is like when you actually go to the businesses and when you tell them, so you when you do the business case for the program of work,
Yeah.
they come up with really fancy unicorn benefits.
Yes.
But when you tell them, hold on, guys, there is a stage where we actually look back
Yeah.
and
And
go, whether we deliver that, if you don't deliver it, it's not going to look good.
yeah.
So as soon as you have that conversation, it just goes down. It becomes very realistic.
Yeah.
So it's not bad to have really good objectives for the project, but you have to make sure that you at least achieve 80% of them or
Right.
70%.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense. Right. So that's awesome. So digital transformation, I heard there's a lot more demand for it. And so, are you only working with like Dubai and Australia for now, or are you looking to kind of expand your operations into North America as well?
I do have plans to expand operations in North America and Europe as well,
Okay.
because we know that our process works. We
Yeah.
know our systems and our strategies are working, and there's a massive manufacturing market in North America.
Yeah.
A lot of beautiful wine companies there,
Yeah.
and so yeah, so absolutely, we do plan to take over the world.
Yeah.
That's the plan.
That should
But
be
we got
the
to start it somewhere.
Yeah, that should be the goal. I think after the pandemic, uh, you know, I think everyone will agree that we're on a level field, right? Like it doesn't matter where you're from
Yeah,
or where you're currently operating. I think we have to start looking at the world as one market, because digitalization obviously has brought everyone on the same plane, on the same level field now, and literally, like you can really do business with any client anywhere in the world at this point in time. So yeah, why not? Yeah, you're most welcome to North America, and yes, we do have some beautiful vineyards.
yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. I actually, we do see ourselves. Actually, we are not doing any active marketing or promotions in North America, but we do have plans to start talking to several manufacturing firms over there to see whether we can help them with solving the problems, or whether it is a problem. That's some of the one of the things I always keen to understand is like the problems the Australians, the manufacturers, and the Middle Eastern manufacturers have.
Yeah.
Is that normal in US as well? Are they having the same problem? Because if they are, you know the solution.
Yeah. 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 That's something that uh, yeah, you would want to look at for sure. Yeah. Good. All right. So any current projects, future projects, and also I wanted to touch base on your delivery of services, right? So how long
Hmm.
does it usually take for you to complete an engagement?
It depends. So normally the CX strategy or the digital transformation strategy, we have I've broken it down into two. One is a discovery
Yeah.
or slash foundation,
Yeah.
which is a very short engagement, about 2 to 4 weeks,
Okay.
just to mostly 2 weeks, just to show the businesses, manufacturers who actually doesn't understand what's the value
Yeah.
of that. So it's a brief engagement where we go and have conversations with the key team members. We review key operations, and we tell them, look, if you go through this journey, these are the benefits you can expect
Yeah.
at the end. So because a lot of organizations, a lot of business owners, and a lot of CEOs in certain industries, they do not see the value of this, or they've been confused by a lot of people.
Yeah.
So we just take that engagement and we actually give them a custom. It's pretty much for them, for your business. You can actually expect these things, and they're
Yeah.
not just fluff we just grab from somewhere and just say you can do it.
Yeah.
Because if they say, "Yep, all right, we want to continue," we're going to create them the roadmaps. We're going to do their customer journeys, the persona, everything that needs to happen
Yeah.
to deliver those objectives or deliver those results.
Yeah.
So that's how it is. But once the strategy is done, Sabrish, it depends on what are we doing, what's coming out of that strategy.
Okay.
Are we doing, we always look at short term and long term changes. Like short terms are like your low hanging fruit. We're like, let's do these things. You'll see these results instantly, or within 3 months, you'll see the difference in certain ways. Like you see productivity improvements,
Yeah.
you see customer experience improvements, a lot of cost cutting and things like that. I always say any engagement, the low hanging fruit, you can always do about 20% improvements easily.
Yeah.
It's that when you want to reach 30-40%,
Yeah.
that's where you need time, you need systems, you need training, you need to do a lot of change management.
Yeah.
If you can't have 30-40% improvement, 30% improvement at least, no
Yeah.
point in going through that process.
Yeah.
So that's how it is. Then you break it down into 6 month milestone, 12-month milestones that you consistently
Okay.
have that what you call iterative process.
Okay. So you do have iterations in the
Yeah,
implementation. Okay.
yeah.
All right.
Because you want to measure where you're heading, you want to review your strategy. You have to always consistently go back to your strategy
Yeah.
and look at it. Okay, are we on target? Is this still working? Has the market changed? If the
Yeah.
market's changed, you have to adapt, things like that.
Yeah.
So that's how it is. A very dynamic process.
Yeah.
That's where we going with a consultancy is like, whether it's us or somebody else, that's where it's value, because we work with them to do it.
Yeah. So I have an interesting thought that I wanted to share because I was having a discussion with one of our clients, potential clients, and what I understood from them telling us is they have a similar problem, right? And they want to go digital, but it looks like they've been having conversations with these technical companies, the big companies out there, and it looks like they're proposing like applications, right, for a business problem. So in other words, um, so this person that I've been talking to says, we have this problem, we want to go digital, at the business level, and what's been proposed to us is a technology platform, that will solve everything, right? And that's the solution they got, and they decided to implement it, and now they have problems because they don't know what they're doing, right? They're trying to implement this solution, but hey, hang on, we got business processes, we got people, like how do we bring everything into this new technology platform, right? And they've identified some limitations and constraints and all of that. So that is on the other hand as well happening, right, with many clients that I know. So they think that
That
technology is a technology solves a business problem. It's the common assumption out there.
it's actually you're so true, because that happened. That's why a lot of transformation projects fail.
Yeah.
That's because they focus too much on technology. You have to focus on technology. You have to focus on processes. You have to focus on people.
Yeah.
People very important. Unless you do your change management on point,
Yeah.
your transformation, whatever, not going to work. The biggest problem is when a business engage a technology solution provider,
Mhm.
they come in with a hat, whether it were, well, more, not everybody, a lot
Yeah.
of these problem, they will solve problems, they're built for to solve a problem.
Yeah.
But this organization, what they do is they are coming to implement the solution.
Yes.
They're not coming to fix your business problems.
Yeah.
So, whereas why organizations engage companies like mine or big four accounting firms, or whoever it is, consultants,
Yeah.
we look at it not just from the technology perspective, we look at it from what are the processes needs to change to work well, what
Yeah.
are your procedures needs to change,
Yeah.
what roles going to change, the change management impact on individual people,
Yeah.
and how do you what do you have to do to improve adoption in within 3 months after the implementation, because what the technology provider going to do is, even if you have the world's best shiny product, they'll implement it and they'll tell you you have to do these things and
Yeah.
they'll go.
Yeah.
Then the business most of the time don't do those things because
Yeah.
they're like, we got the solution, you guys got trained, use it.
Yeah.
But it's an iterative process, it
Yeah.
has to happen like that. And it's like crms.
Yeah.
We get asked this, okay, I get asked, look, we have this problem, let's get the best crm and implement it.
Yeah.
But sometimes the best crm is not the right one, because crms also, you have crms built for specific industries.
Yes.
You have crms who are very strong in one kind of thing, built for consultants who are individuals. There are crms which are doing really good in manufacturing.
Yeah.
So likewise, so there's small bits and pieces. You have to have somebody either internally to do that full analysis and go,
The
all
guide.
right, this is the right solution for us.
Yeah. 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 That's very true. And unfortunately, a lot of clients that I know, they fall prey to this because they always seem to assume that, hey, when we go to this new technology, everything is going to go away. And I usually tell them that, sure, but
Yeah,
you know, uh,
that's mostly because they don't go through a good procurement process,
yes,
right? They just invite the vendor, and vendor do these guys do a really good sales pitch,
yeah,
show all the fluff of the
feature,
solution. Like, yeah, because we just recently did a express procurement process for a treasury management system, and we told all the vendors, we are not running your sales pitch, you're getting scenarios. We gave them 56
yeah,
scenarios to demonstrate. We don't care about what your sales pitch is.
yeah,
You show us how you do these things
yeah,
in your system
yeah,
so we can rate on you.
yeah,
Once they show that,
yeah,
then we'll, if you're successful, we'll invite you for another session to show everything else how you ever you want to show. But a
yeah,
lot of organizations, what they do is they get these guys to show them what the vendor wants to show,
yeah,
and they just like, oh, this is awesome. It's like they show all the colorful beautiful things, and once you actually have the system working on it, they're like, hold on, can you do this?
yeah,
Nah, I can't. So that's how it is. We hear that story quite a lot.
yeah, yeah. Very true. It's same here as well. North America is no different.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And how are your clients adapting to the iterative or agile, way of working?
It's actually normal, because at the end of each milestone, you see value, you see the results and things like that. So it's more it's based on the results.
Okay.
So it's not I don't like to call it agile, because and it's more like, it's not like we don't have fixed sprints and things like that. um I still sometimes think from the development side way of thinking. um, when we give them a strategy, we are like, okay, for 6 months, you have to do these one, two, three, four things. So
Hmm.
let's work together and get that. That might have two streams of transformations going through change management. We might look at work with the HR team, try to change their
Yeah.
roles, look at what are the roles, things like that. So every step you see value.
Hmm.
Every step you see value. So actually, they don't have that problem,
Hmm.
because they are seeing their business is growing and they see the changes and differences happening around the business.
Okay.
So I never had any complaints because of that value
Okay.
you see.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. A lot of organizations here are currently um, taking up agile. They're transforming into agile, doing their agile transformations, and I hear a lot about these kind of problems. That they want to implement agile, but they're not structured uh, to fit into the agile way of working yet, right?
Yeah, that's why I said I don't want to use the word agile because it has become a buzzword,
Yes.
right? They're just like, oh, we agile, this and that. Then when you look at it, like you're not even close to agile.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
the common misconception about agile is we're agile, so we don't plan anything. We just go there and do what we like, and they keep
Ah, it
doing it.
looks great on a presentation
Yeah.
to a board.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah. Yeah. Fantastic. Oh, I think we have talked a lot about this. Um, so what I want to actually now focus on is right. So you've started your business. You've gone through this transformation yourself. What what tips would you give to to an aspiring, maybe an IT professional who wants to start his own business someday, or maybe start his own consulting practice someday? So, any advice, any tips that you want to provide?
Um, Make sure you have your family support,
Hmm.
right? Because it's whatever you do. It depends on how you want to do it. If you want
Yes.
to build a consulting business, make sure you have your full support and be willing to work double what you do,
Yeah.
right? That's one. It is given. The other one is learn from the people who've done it.
Done it.
Rely on coaches, rely on mentors.
Yeah.
Just learn everything, learn and read books. It's all about learning
Yeah.
and be open minded.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah. Yeah. Anticipate and be open minded. Of course, definitely one of the qualities. Yeah.
Yeah,
Adopt. Yeah. That's good.
those are
Um,
the key things.
yeah. No, that's fantastic. So what I want to do is maybe have a few questions that I wanted to ask you actually. So I usually kind of call the segment the rapid fire question round.
Okay.
So are you ready to answer some questions?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, fantastic. All right, here's the first question I have. So, what is the one book every consultant should read? You think?
One book.
Mhm.
Um, can I say two books?
Sure.
Um, Think and Grow Rich.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. Everybody should read it.
Yeah.
If you're a human, read it.
Yeah.
The other one is E-Myth.
Emit. Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely. Yeah.
Michael E. Gerber.
Gerber. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a really really good book. Right, that they should teach that in school.
Schools. Yeah.
Uh, yeah, those are the two things. Yeah, and I think I'm for the fifth time I'm reading it again.
Okay.
E-Myth.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Fantastic.
every time I pick something new.
Hmm. All right. Any interesting books you're currently reading right now?
Um, I actually am reading another book I read quite a lot is Your First $100 Million
Okay.
from Dan Pena.
That pen. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's a really really good book,
Okay.
and if you want to build a business or um, if you want to build a good business, yeah, I'd highly recommend it.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, that's definitely on my list as well.
Yeah.
I'm actually reading a couple of books. Persuasion from
Oh yeah,
Robert Cialdini, and I have also Breakthrough Advertising. Um,
breakthrough advertising. Okay.
yeah, so that's I don't remember the author's name. I just started reading it. Uh, it's it's foundational. Like I feel like this book sells for at least $900 on Amazon, and I was lucky to get somebody, refer me, give me a link, like a referral link, and I was able to buy it for like $250.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it was a private link, and this is a game changer. I feel like so far I've read like 50 pages, and wow,
What's the name of the book again?
breakthrough advertising.
Breakthrough Advertising. Okay.
Yeah, look it up on Amazon. It sells for $900,000. I don't think it's being published right now.
Right.
Uh, so there's a huge demand for it.
Another book I'd recommend is Your Next Five Moves.
Yeah, I have that as well.
All right. Yeah, it's a pretty good book
Yeah,
from Patrick Bet David. Yeah.
yeah, Patrick Bet David. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, fantastic. Um, any productivity hack you would recommend?
This is an area I really hone in myself.
Mhm.
Um, Productivity hacks. One of the things I do is I do the boring, the ones that I really don't want to do first thing in the morning,
Okay. Yeah,
because I'll never do it after that.
yeah.
So I have two big slots per week locked in for things I hate doing,
Okay, that's
and
good.
that makes sure I get things done. Because once I get that off, it's keep.
Yeah,
I'm all on it. The rest, yeah.
yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah, we recently implemented Notion at our business, and it's been great so far. Like it seems like an ERP in itself, but very flexible, very inexpensive as well. So it's got all of the productivity features, task management, like pretty much anything you can think of, like collaboration, task management, projects, and product management, all of that. So we've been
Hmm.
that. Yeah, and I agree as well because I happen to do the difficult things first in the morning. So that's how I start. Yeah.
Yeah. What's that tool? Can I ask the name?
Yeah, it's called Notion.
Okay.
Notion. Yeah, Notion. It's a free tool. Yeah,
I'm always looking for new ways to improve
yeah,
whatever we are doing, however we are doing.
yeah. It's an all-in-one kind of a solution, and we
Yeah.
happen to try a lot of different solutions, but so far we're pretty pleased with Notion because it has AI built in. It has like everything that you need to run your operations.
Yeah.
in a single view. Um,
Cool.
Good. So if you could have a 1 hour conversation with a historical figure, who would it be and why?
Andrew Carnegie.
And to God, yeah, yeah, for
Andrew
sure.
Carnegie. Hands down.
Yeah, hands down. Yeah,
That's
definitely.
right.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
he was so advanced for his age, and for that period of time, of course.
100% to be the richest man after leaving a, like a real poor kid from Scotland.
Yeah,
To do that, I want to know how. And it's,
yeah,
yeah, I'll definitely be him.
yeah, yeah, and that's the beauty about books. I feel right. There's a lot of golden nuggets in
Yeah.
those books, which comes at a very affordable price. Like it's nothing, right, compared to the
Mhm.
value that you get from those books. Yeah,
I mean, that's what inspires me. Your first 100 million from
yeah,
Dan Pena, because
yeah,
he also had humble beginnings, which I do. Like I grew up in Sri Lanka, like
yeah,
you know, in a poor family. So it's those things really admire. Like I admire them. So
yeah,
it's all about okay learning. It's a secret sauce. Whatever
yeah,
you can get, you get it. Apply it. How to apply it?
yeah,
You just see how that works.
yeah, yeah, and definitely, for anyone who's watching, you don't have to come from a wealthy background to be successful in life, right? Like you don't have to, right? Anybody can become successful. Success is very easy. Success is it takes effort, right? It's simple, but it takes effort. It takes commitment, right? So you don't have to have a lot of wealth, but if you're committed, if you are driven, if you want to achieve it, it is yours for you to achieve. So you don't have to hold yourself back from going after your dreams and goals and all of that. So something that you want to take away from, I would imagine. So you ready for a couple of more questions, Dasan?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
This is fun.
So which IT trend are you most excited about?
AI.
Yeah.
AI, absolutely. I am super excited about it. We are working on few AI products, well, more like passion projects,
Okay.
looking at how to improve AI, using AI, how to improve sales online through e-commerce channels. That's something I'm working on. So I'm super, super excited about
Okay.
AI.
Any specific AI you really like?
ChatGPT, I'm a massive fan.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm one of, yeah. As soon as they opened up the paid subscription, I'm like, yep, I'm in.
Yeah, I got that as well. GPT-4.
Yeah, yeah. It's amazing because back in the day, you have to like there are certain things you just don't know. You're like, hmm, who can
Yeah.
I ask this question? Like, what is it?
Yeah.
So now you just type it in, and it just spit you the answer, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
And it gives you codes as well now. Like that's the other thing. You say, look, how do you do something like this in this language? It just gives you the actual code.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it killed all the average copywriters as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
So I'm right now in the process of writing an ebook on that.
Hmm.
I'm looking at. So I've done a lot of research over a period of time, and in the last like 4 5 months, I've been looking at the way AI is growing and the impact that it's going to have on technology and people working in the IT industry and so on. So I'm right now working on an ebook to um, to kind of talk about at least the top 10 jobs that are going to be questionable as a result of this AI uh, popularity growing.
It's gonna happen, right? It's gonna be like horses in the war.
Yeah, yeah, it
Can't
is.
find them anymore.
Yeah, so yeah, that's a work in progress for me. So one last question for you. Okay,
Hmm.
what is your favorite way to unwind after a busy day? Do you have your cooling off routine?
Just pour myself a glass of scotch, put my feet up on the table, and just enjoy and reflect.
Okay, reflection. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fantastic. Yeah, I don't do much these days. I think for me, creative projects is definitely something for me to unwind. I've also kind of been very fascinated with technology recently. So, I'm into cameras and things like that. So I try to set up my gear. I try to play with it, right? So learning new stuff. So I think that's how I unwind myself, and mostly with creative projects, doing some designing. I'm also a designer, doing some designing and things like that. So
What design you do? What kind of like
I
graphic
do,
designing or?
yeah, graphics design. Yeah. So
Nice.
I'm also, yeah, I do that and I enjoy doing it. Uh, I'm also a creative writer. I've been learning copywriting as well. So yeah, so creative projects is what I like to unwind usually with.
Yeah, it's funny, right? The creative writing. I don't know whether you learned it. Like at the beginning of our careers, we never paid attention to that.
No.
But now I see that one of the skills that just like sales,
Yeah.
you must have that skill to write. It's actually never.
Yeah.
There's no downside to
Yeah.
having that skill. It's
Yeah.
all upside.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're gonna need it, right? Because on a digital platform, you gotta have to write, and that's the only way you can attract people to follow you and to know you, right?
It's absolutely an essential skill.
Yeah. So what three skills do you think that people should learn? in this decade?
Number one, sales.
Okay.
Somebody actually told me in a conversation, um, um, consultative selling,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Thank you, David. Um, so for that, sharing that with me. Yeah, that sales very important.
Yeah.
Um, Communicate clearly,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Especially if you are an IT person.
Yeah.
I still struggle with that sometimes. I want to improve it.
Yeah.
Communication is important. The other one is, I would say, writing, communication, writing skills.
Right.
Is very important, especially with even you, whether you don't have to write blogs, but you still, if you know how to write properly, emails and things like that, it's very, very beneficial,
Yeah.
because those are three things that I actually learned, consistently looking to improve
Yeah.
myself as well every day.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very true. Yeah. Yeah. So I think, in my perspective, sales is definitely the number one skill that everyone should learn. Um, Marketing for sure is going to be in demand because that's the only way you're going to survive, right? If you're not able
Yeah,
to market yourself, you're probably not existing in the world. And I feel like writing, of course, is going to be another skill in demand as well. All right, so I think we talked a lot, and I can't imagine we've been live for like almost 90 minutes now.
time just flew, eh?
Oh yeah, so lots of good discussion we had today, and Dasun, I really enjoyed this time. You know, it was like laid back, having like a chat with a brother. So I really enjoyed this. You know, and I think we should probably do this more often. You know, uh,
Absolutely. Look, thank you very much, Sabrish. And I really enjoyed it. I did not notice the time, to be really honest with you. It
yeah,
was a good chat. So, yeah, we definitely should do it again. I'll really love that.
yeah. Yeah, and for those who are watching this live, or you know, if you're going to watch this after, uh, you know, it has been recorded and made available to you, make sure to post comments, ask questions, and if you are somebody who is right now in the IT industry, who is you know, wanting to become a consultant, or if you are already, you know, like a consultant but working as a contractor, but you somehow feel that you lack the ability to, you know, build on your client base or increase your fees, you know, we specialize in helping you with that, right? So IITC is the world's first organization helping IT professionals to really, like, you know, hone on IT consulting skills and establish their foundation and businesses, and you know, helping them to thrive and succeed in this digital age. So if you are someone out there listening and watching, make sure you reach out to us. Our website is iitcinternational.com, and I'm just going to put that here as well. Dasan, any last words from you before we wind up?
Now, look, I just want to say thank you. Really happy to be on Six Figure Consultant Show. And yeah, look, guys, if you have any questions about, if you're a BA trying to thinking of becoming a consultant, or any other questions, just feel free to reach out to me. I'm very active on LinkedIn. And I think Sabrish just put it there, and Twitter as well. So feel free to reach out. I'll be happy to help. Um, and yeah, and keep learning from people who've done it. The only job for you is to not to repeat the mistakes others haven't done.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, learning never ends, and everything that you want to achieve today, someone has already done that. So all you need to do is find those people, uh, you know, and add value to them so they can teach you everything that they've done, they've learned. So you don't have to go through 10, 15 years of your time to learn that as well. So with that, I think we're going to wrap up the show. And again, it's been like 20 minutes, 90 minutes already. And, you know, I keep forgetting the time. So I think it's like 20 minutes, Dasan. So that's
That's
what
all right.
really. So, all right. So, thanks everyone for watching. And again, in the next 30 days to 45 days, we're going to come back again with another special episode on the Six Figure Consultant Show, featuring another special guest from somewhere in the world who's out there adding value to their clients. So, until then, you take care and stay safe out there.
See you guys.